The next part of the session, we have a fantastic lineup of end user representatives that will talk about some of the themes that we talked about earlier today and share with us what they're doing and how they're adapting to this new reality. So I'm pleased to welcome Richie Lodato, who's a global multimedia architect at Coty, Gary Blumberg, video services manager at Hartford Health, Amante Bustamante, CTO at Ashburn Consulting, who is representing Fairfax County government here in Virginia, and I will be moderating. So with that, let me go ahead and ask each one of you to introduce yourselves briefly, what your role is within your organization, and how you're using video today. So Richie, let's start with you.
Sure. My name is Richie Lodato. I work for Coty Inc. We're a beauty and fragrance company, global. I am the global multimedia architect, where I basically are responsible for the room designs and architectural designs on the back end. We are an Office 365 shop. We moved to Microsoft Teams recently, and we have Pexip Cloud as a service in the cloud. The challenges that we basically had in regards to the epidemic is everybody in Coty had a laptop and a headset, standard headset, and Teams as the client on the laptop. So really not too much of an impact for the folks at home.
Excellent. And Gary, how about yourself?
Yes. Good afternoon, gentlemen. This is Gary Blumberg. I am the video services manager for Hartford Healthcare. We consist of 7 hospitals, 270 office sites, and have about 30,000 employees. We have over 250 conference rooms, over 50 training rooms. Our video platform is on-prem. It's a Pexip deployment with 16 internal, 18 core conference nodes and 2 data centers, 8 externally facing edge nodes, also 18 core each. We have approximately 2,300 static VMRs. We use dynamic as well. We have a Pexip branded app, which is on about 80% of our desktops. So we use WebRTC available for outside participants. We have about 125 Cisco endpoints registered internally. These are both in conference rooms and in operating rooms. Some of them are also built in from Steris and Black Diamond Video, which also works with the Pexip environment. We do have CUCM, VCS Core Expressway, TMS, TCS. We use Viapta's analytics platform. We have Crestron Fusion with X panels for the larger conference rooms and auditoriums. And we have a video interpreting ASL and voice platform that we use. Pexip handles all of our audio and video bridging, with the exception of telehealth. And then my role as Hartford Healthcare's video services manager is that I am the primary customer interface responsible for the delivery of all services related to enterprise conferencing. I am a team of 1, but I do utilize field services wherever possible. So my key responsibilities are to create and maintain all aspects of the video conferencing infrastructure, including hard and soft endpoints, provide project management for all AV and video conferencing installs, make sure standards for equipment and programming are met, resolve all AV and VC incidents, provide and create training documents in video for AV, VMR, and video conferencing equipment, and provide monthly reports to the CTO on UC analytics. There's a rumor that I may get some help this year, but and if I may introduce one moment of levity, just because the name of it's Back to the Future of Work, I just would like to remind people that in Back to the Future 2, Marty's future self got fired via video.
Excellent. Well, it's a testament to how reliable everything is that you're able to spend time with us here today versus being pulled in 25 different directions. Amante, how about introduction from yourself?
Yes. My name is Amante Bustamante. I'm the CTO of a small consulting services company here in Virginia. I'll be referencing some of our government clients on what we have done for them, how we support them day to day with their video conferencing operations. Our core services is really network and security, but we have expanded, our services to do video infrastructure for our clients for the past few years. So we cater to federal, state, and local governments, education, and commercial.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us. So let's start with the topic at hand. Tell us, I'll start with you, Gary. How did your workforce change starting around, say, late February, early March?
Well, certainly as a healthcare organization, we saw this coming. And our CTO basically said to me, all right, this is what we need to plan for. This is what's going to happen. And with his, his look into the future, basically within 2 weeks, we were able to upgrade our on-prem video infrastructure by 600%. We also upgraded our VPN. We added additional VPNs. We added additional edge nodes. I was part of that upgrade as well. So thinking folks joining from the outside in from various ways. We also had to make sure that our PRIs were going to be able to handle all this traffic that used to be, on the network, being telephone calls, even from off to on. Because again, for us, Pexip is not only video, but it's all of our audio bridging as well. That was really the biggest thing that had to happen, at least on the infrastructure side, to be prepared for everybody to just have the tools that they needed. We've already been using Pexip since December of 2014, so most people were accustomed to using it. I will say that more people have moved towards video as opposed to just using it for content sharing, but it's still a mixed bag of users. With 30,000 users, we have a lot of people using it different ways.
What percentage of your workers are now at home? I assume obviously a lot of healthcare workers have to still return to the office, right?
Well, certainly the clinical people have to go in to care for the needy. But, organizations like our system support office includes information, the IT department, HR, revenue cycle, analytics, budget. Yes, I do have a list here. So there's a lot of other, there's a lot of other people that we have in the company that work on. I couldn't tell you an exact number of how much of our company is on-site versus off-site. I don't have that ratio, but there's quite a few people that moved off-site.
Okay, excellent. Richie, how did your workforce change in respect to the pandemic?
Basically, folks already had assigned laptops and headsets. So, when they were asked to go home, they went home with their laptops and basically, utilized Teams as the client. We had some VPN. We had to beef up on the VPN, from work from home, but really not an impact here at Coty.
So did you already have a percent, or did you already support work from home and have a percentage of people who at least work part-time, or if not full-time?
Yes, it was a part-time interim basis, but, folks that already had their tools, basically were asked to move at home. So everything just worked out great for us.
Excellent. Amante, how about you with respect to your work with Fairfax? What did you see in terms of migration to home and maybe some of the challenges that you faced?
Yeah, so our company's mainly staff augmented to most of our clients. So 95% of my company is really based out of client sites. But from our state and local government customers, I'm seeing about 80% of the workforce doing telecommuting. So we had to help our clients. I'm sorry, you're hearing some of my smart devices here. Anyways, so we had to help them beef up their security posture, their network infrastructure, their internet links, and make sure that we provide a secure VPN for them. So from the security side, you have to be ready for these workforce to work from home, because they carry their corporate data or your corporate data to their homes. So the exposure now is even greater. So now you have to really control and watch where these remote workers are going. You don't know where they're going from home. So you need to make sure that you have a really secure VPN solution, making sure that wherever they go, you funnel that traffic, you scrub that traffic, control that traffic, and be alerted if there's a situation going on from the end user side.
Okay. Richie, what were the biggest challenges that you've faced so far in terms of supporting home workers, both from a technological standpoint as well as just keeping workers engaged when they're remote?
Again, the only challenge that we had was, we were Skype for Business, and we actually cut over on a weekend to MS Teams. I did have the challenge, a couple months prior to that, where we were, a Skype shop, and we had on-prem CMS where you need to get that interrupt. So we decided to register all our endpoints with Pexip out to the cloud, where it gave me that interrupt. So I really kind of took the opportunity where folks were kind of out of the office and say, hey, let's take that opportunity to cut over to the cloud. And I got to tell you, cut over overnight. It was that simple.
And what issues did you face in terms of trying to train people remotely in this new?
Comms went out. Training was already kind of we already had the training and all that prior. We had the schedule and freeze due to all right, everybody's got to go home. So then we basically linked up, say let's cut over. So I pretty much cut over the rooms. The only challenges that I kind of had was basically some firewall issues. Where support were, not turned up to allow the traffic in and out. But other than that, it was really simple.
Excellent. And Gary, how about you? Did you run into any issues or challenges, and maybe during the transition as well as since?
Most of it was pretty well planned for. The only thing I know we did add after a short amount of time was an additional VPN. The one thing that I anticipated was people joining outside in as opposed to going via VPN. But we have a lot of people that need to get to information on the network, and so they would VPN. So the calls were going through, the video calls were going through those VPNs, where I sort of anticipated that they would go more through the edge nodes. Like what I do personally, and I try to tell other people, but whatever, is I'm talking to you like from now through my home PC with my equipment. I have my laptop is here, which is actually VPN'd into our network. And then I'm remoted to the PC in my office, and that's the one I'll do the work from there to, if I need to get anything. But as far as using to communicate with people, I'm staying off the VPN, and I just go out straight to our edge nodes.
So how have you, obviously when we start talking about home workers, a lot of them really aren't technical. So creating that environment where they might be sending some percentage of traffic backhauled across the VPN, the rest going out directly to the cloud. From an IT perspective, are you taking ownership of helping people make or implement that sort of architecture, the split tunneling?
Well, I was responsible with the help of Pexip by putting up those edge nodes, but I'm certainly not responsible. We have a whole networking team that deals with VPN and all that. I mean, we work together, but the VPN falls under their under their domain. However, when people have an issue, nobody says, "Hey," it goes, they come to me, you know what I mean? If there's an issue with the tool, they come to me, and then I have to then, kind of translate what's going on. I mean, I think part of my role also acts as a translator between the IT world and our end users.
Okay. So Amante, I'll come back to you. In your work with Fairfax, how did they overcome issues related to performance and security and so on with using a VPN? So as you have employees working from home who are using bandwidth intensive applications like video, from a performance standpoint, did it work? Or are you looking at having to do any sort of remote engineering or remote training to help people ensure a high quality experience while they're working from home?
So the good thing that we did for our state and local government clients is to use a cloud broker. So all end user traffic goes through there, and we maintain the same firewall policies and access policies from them being on-prem. So we have our security engineers also develop the security policies in that cloud broker. So whenever they go to a website or something that's outside your corporate network, it gets scrubbed through the cloud broker. And then when there's traffic destined to your internal network, the app is smart enough to tunnel that traffic into your VPN devices, into your network. So that's a way, because split tunnel could be very risky, because you don't know where your users are going, right? You're going outside of your corporate network, plus you're accessing, important information from your corporate network. So let's say, there's a security threat or malware or whatever it is that's in your machine that you got from another source outside of your corporate network. That's going to bleed into your corporate network. So the key is, even if you have split tunnel, what you need to do is have all these security layers so that you can just watch what's coming in and out. Also, have a good security operations team to keep watching what these endpoints are going and what they're ingesting. If there are threats going on, then you can respond and remotely turn off whatever is in their computer or mitigate.
So that cloud access security broker, is that resident on the local computer, or does the traffic get backhauled across the VPN and then split up?
It's an agent on the...
Oh, it's an agent. Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. So, Richie, I want to come to you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm also a big fan of software-defined perimeter VPN technology, which is based on your user ID, based on identity management. So based on your credential, you get access to only certain things, so that you don't crawl up to another, let's say, server that's right beside the critical server that you're accessing. So it's a role base. So I'm a big fan of software-defined user VPN technology.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Richie, I want to shift gears a little bit and ask you, how is your organization using video? What trends have you seen since the pandemic, and are beyond meetings? Are you seeing any video used for community building, culture, social engagement, anything along those lines?
So we're utilizing video. We did have a town hall quite recently with live meeting. So basically, a lot of the video is coming from the Teams client. We do have some offices that are open with a limited amount of folks that are on site that are utilizing some of the video conference rooms. So pretty much, the interop is there with a Teams invite. So it's with a one button touch within the room. So everything is working like it should be, right, through a Teams invite. So we really have no challenges in regards to interrupt.
What have you seen in terms of utilization of video? Have you measured any increase over the last couple of, let's say, March?
With March, yes, because everything's within Teams, where we had some challenges with Skype on-prem, where, things changed, things broke. But so far, so good for the folks that are, utilizing a lot of the video out of our Amsterdam new headquarters location. So that recently opened up around a couple weeks ago. So we do have some high utilization out of the new office.
Excellent. How about Gary? What have you seen in terms of video utilization? Are people using video for anything beyond meetings or conferences?
Yes, a definite yes. There's always been, like I say, medical training from operating rooms. If you're familiar with the Da Vinci robot, which goes inside the body, right? We send that video feed out also through video conferencing. So you could basically video conference from inside the body, which is kind of fun. If you like that thing.
Great teaching tool though, right?
What's that?
it's a great teaching tool, I would think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Right. And we have, it depends on the surgeon. They could be talking live or not want to. It's up to them. Yeah. But we do both. We've been doing some town halls. We have a lot of community outreach programs. Like, so for instance, our Parkinson's program, which always was on site. Well, it can't be on site, right? So we've extended that, and many, many, many different types of organizations within our healthcare system have moved to community-based video conferences as well. We've also done, and this was interesting, we've done fundraising via video. We had, I helped moderate a wine tasting fundraiser, which was fun, where we had 4 wine experts from different parts of the country, and people were given the wines to buy locally. As they said, these are the wines we'll be tasting, so buy these beforehand, and food that was prepared, and if you wanted, it could be sent to you, and it's all part of the fundraising. It's kind of an interesting concept, and it worked. It really did.
Excellent. I will send you my email address so I can get an invite the next time you do that. So have you started thinking about a return to the office? Have you started looking at how you might be bringing people back? And maybe even a bigger question, do people want to come back to the office?
Is that directed at me?
Yeah, I'll start with you, Gary.
Okay. There are some people that want to come back. There are some people that have been going back to a very small office, much like, Jordan. A lot of people who perhaps have young kids that just find it difficult to work from home. Personally, myself, I work 45 miles from my office. That's 90 miles a day I don't put on my car. That's, 2 hours of my life I get back. I love working from home. There's nothing that I can do in my office that I can't do from here. There are times I need to go to a site, but that's the case now as well. I will tell you that we do not have an exact plan yet. It's still in the works. I don't think anything's going to happen, at least with the IT department, before January. Things change, but that's what I'm hearing because they just don't know. There are certain things that are already in effect for those that do have to be on site. For instance, the whole you have to stay 6 feet apart. You have to be masked. There's no shared offices anymore. Even as I don't mean to be crass, but even in the men's room, every other urinal can be used. They have X'd off, right? And the sinks are set that way just to keep you 6 feet apart and masked.
Wow. Yeah, that's those are the things you're not thinking about, right? When you're thinking about a return to the office, that everything has to be spaced out. How about Richie? Are you starting to think about a return to the office? And again, same question to you. Do you think people want to come back?
I think some folks want to come back, but New York City, Empire State Building, I basically take 2 trains. I'm not really planning on going back anytime soon. To Gary's point, I could do everything from home. So there's no push really for IT to get back in the office. There's a limited approximately 50 folks that are in the Empire State Building in New York. Social distancing, spaced out, open space. In regards to the men's room, there's only allowed 1 person in the men's room at a time. It's just a different environment. A 12-person conference room, there's only allowed 2 folks in the room. A lot of restrictions where, they'll stop you right before you walk into the building in the lobby and basically take your temperature. I don't think a lot of people are going to be running back to the office. But, again, how we're set up at Coty is, work from home, until further notice.
And are you starting to think about real estate? Will you keep that office space?
So that's a great question. I'm sure there's a lot of talks of that. I've been on some calls where there's some talks, but I feel everywhere there's going to be reduced in real estate, where maybe some of the companies are going to take advantage of it, where it's like, wow, the work from home does work for some companies or majority of companies. So I feel there's going to be a significant cost savings there. Rooms, a lot of folks are talking about huddle spaces, changing the architecture in real estate footprint. I think folks are kind of, there's some noise of folks that are making changes. but we're not making any changes in regards to rearranging the office, going back to cube space or anything like that. I think it's still early.
Right. So, Amante, again, in your work with Fairfax government, are they starting to return? I know that they just announced yesterday at least schools will be online for the fall. What are you seeing in terms of help and your role in terms of helping them potentially plan for a return back to the office?
Yeah, it's looking more like a hybrid approach, but it keeps changing. Every time they see the cases go up, they might decide to just do a partial support. So we provide on-site support for them. So what we do now is we send one engineer per day on-site, just to be on-site. And we have about 12 engineers supporting them. So it's only one engineer on-site right now. But, it's slowly going to increase the on-site approach. Hopefully, facilities will be involved in maybe reconfiguring the layout of the cubicles, or maybe doing only a certain percentage of workers be on site, and then the rest telecommute. We really can't tell, but we're just preparing the IT infrastructure to support both remote workers and workers that are on site. So all these collaboration technologies needs to be up to par.
Are you seeing any plans or being discussed or even implemented at this point to restructure what the workspace looks like? I think it was Richie that mentioned, not a return to the kind of office we had previously, but maybe a different layout or different feel to what an office would look like.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's costs associated to that, but maybe they might, require certain people. So one cubicle apart. So the cube next to you will not be working that day. But the cube that's in the other side will be required to be on site that day.
Okay.
I can't tell.
Okay. And that's really, I think, a big theme right now is there's just still a lot of uncertainty, given, we almost seemed like we were starting to get through this in May, and now, things have changed a bit. So Richie, I want to come back to you. How do you keep people engaged that are working from home? How do you make sure that they still feel like they're part of the team?
It's, you get your regulars in the morning, coffee break, we'll spin up a video conference, or a lunch. Hey, how you doing? How's the family, kind of thing. But, it's great having video, and I feel a lot of folks are having a lot more video where they're seeing their teams, they're reacting more, content sharing. We have everything through the Teams client. It's working out great for us.
Excellent. Gary, I'll come back to you as well. How do you keep people engaged that work from home, both people you work directly with as well as from an organizational standpoint?
Well, most of us had some kind of arrangement to work from home perhaps one day a week. And so it's just kind of taking that through. But I kind of look at this whole thing as not so much as everything has changed. I look at it more as we've been evolving, and this just has accelerated this evolution. Right? We were heading there. We just got there a whole lot faster. I mean, as somebody, and I'm sure everybody on this call is like this, who's been pushing video for X amount of years, you always wonder, well, okay, why is it not taking off? What's preventing people from doing it? And it's approximately 3 years ago, I was on a panel over at Enterprise Connect, and people were talking about the hardware and the everything. I said, it's not the tools. The tools have been there forever. It's the mindset. I mean, we've all been on calls. I think we could all admit it. We've all been on calls where perhaps this meeting could have been an email, right? And we multitask, we do things, right? We're sending out email, we're responding to people just because we can, right? And in my opinion, until a manager says, look, you either show up in person or you do it in video. These are your options. Until then, video is not going to catch on. So the thing that's been kind of somewhat perplexing to me, but I think I know the answer, but I would certainly welcome anyone else's perspective on this. I say, well, why is it all of a sudden when for all these years, I'm in my office, you're in an office 30 feet away from me, and you weren't doing video, but now that I'm home and you're home, we are doing video. What's the difference, right? We couldn't see each other whether we're 30 feet away or whether we're in different towns, whatever. But there seems to be more video. I think the reason is, I could be wrong, but I think the reason is that people are just kind of social animals and they need to see other people. And so because they're not getting it at work, perhaps they're doing it now. And then so if that is the answer, will it continue on this level once people do go back to work in the new normal? It's kind of an interesting concept, but I've, you know, it's like, okay, so now I can see you, but before I couldn't because, you know, because maybe I would see you in the break room or something. I don't know, you know.
Right. No, it's going to be interesting. Again, if as we return back to the office, I think I mentioned this in my presentation, that doesn't mean we're going into the meeting room. We may still be sitting in our desks and having meetings that way. So Amante, I want to come back to you for a similar question then, you know, kind of picking up on Gary's point. There's probably still people within the county of Fairfax or Fairfax government that are not turning their cameras on. What has to happen to get folks to truly embrace video?
Yeah, I mean, the issues that we've encountered really are people embracing the video collaboration aspect of virtual meetings now, right? So they're so used to meeting on site. I mean, we've equipped all of these conference rooms with video conferencing technology, and we've seen very minimal use over the years. So, you know, the investment is there, the technology is there, it's just being less used back in the days. And now there's this sudden increase of virtual meetings, and sometimes we have to support people like late night for town hall meetings, public meetings, stuff like that. So yeah, it's really, you know, the younger generation, like the millennials, we all have to act like millennials now. You have to show yourself. You know, you have to be interactive. You know, that's why there's social networking now. I mean, I have like friends and coworkers that are like, they don't have a Facebook account or Instagram account. They don't know how to work these things. So everybody has to work like millennials now. You know, be in front of the camera, be interactive, be social, online. I mean, that's how I can put things right now.
Excellent. Richie, how have you overcome, you know, maybe those last holdouts that really still don't want to turn their camera on and don't like being on video?
Well, I'm the video guy, so anytime I get on a call, my camera's on. So it's like, guys, you know, we have video here. So now you see all the cameras start popping open, you know. All right, isn't this better? Isn't this a great experience? You know, so to Monty's point, it's true. You know, it's great, and you feel more relaxed. I mean, look, we're having a great conversation. We all see each other, and I feel it gives the folks, you know, a better experience, and you feel more comfortable, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think when everybody comes back to the office, you will still see that people will now use video conferencing a lot now. Because it's convenient, it's efficient, you get more work done. You don't have to travel to go to a certain building or site. So it makes everything efficient.
Have any of you had issues with, you know, some of the things that have been talked about in the past, or recently, I should say, around video burnout? People kind of get tired of being on video all day long. Has anyone seen that pop up within their organization?
No,
I haven't noticed it.
Okay.
No complainers out there where, you know, to shut the video off. No.
Maybe burned out supporting users with their video issues.
What I get more of when I try to help somebody with maybe a camera issue or something, and I said, well, you have your video turned off, right? And they go, well, that's because, you know, I haven't showered. It's working from home. My son's running around, but, you know, it's a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, our census video has gotten a lot less formal. It used to be that you dressed up and, you know, made sure you had a really nice background, and now the mess is fine, the kids are fine, the dog barking is fine, and so on.
Sure. Plus, I mean, I'll admit it. I'm in shorts and I'm barefoot.
Excellent. So moving on. So thinking about the home worker environment, again, we kind of hit that panic phase early in the year, or earlier in the pandemic, when just had to get everybody up and running, get them at home. Are you rethinking what that home office looks like? Maybe provisioning higher end equipment, maybe provisioning additional bandwidth, dedicated VPN, Wi-Fi, anything like that. So let me start with you, Amante, as you're working with Fairfax. Are they starting to look at how do we optimize that home environment above and beyond best effort?
Yeah, so most of the users get issued new devices for remote, working. Because I think most of these government institutions got funding or a grant from CARES, from COVID. So they're using those funds to buy, user end devices, so that they can bring that corporate issue device to home. But we do have some BYOD solutions too, for contractors and external parties that who wants to access certain systems inside the network. And we use some type of VDI solution on that one. VDI or Citrix is another way to bring them in, or maybe that software-defined VPN solution wherein you, based on their identity, they only access one thing. That's it. So it's you gotta have both BYOD and also a secure VPN solution for your employees, right? Employees that needs to access a lot of things inside your IT infrastructure.
Are you looking at provisioning any kind of higher quality camera, even maybe a small video conferencing system?
Yeah. So for most of our remote workers, of course, we coach them on what kind of internet connection they have at home, what kind of Wi-Fi they have. Is it is it noisy around your neighborhood? So we do that type of analysis when we do test sessions with them. Most of the problems is really them connecting to the 2.4 gigahertz band, which is very noisy. So we encourage them to connect to the 5 gigahertz band. It's less interference and they get more throughput using that. Or they can even just buy a new, Wi-Fi router at home. Take advantage of Wi-Fi 6, and MIMO technology, so that you have that network efficiency when you try and transmit from your wireless device.
Excellent. Richie, same question for you. Are you rethinking how you outfit that home worker?
Basically, we just try to keep everything standard globally. Standard laptop, utilizing the standard camera as well as a standard headset. So everybody's pretty much on the same page. Really haven't had any requests for better quality cameras. Personal endpoint systems, no requests as of yet. I mean, I have one, I'm talking on a DX70, but, nothing out of the ordinary as of yet.
Okay. And Gary,
go
ahead.
You can have the best you can have the best camera, but if you don't have proper lighting, that defeats the purpose. Yeah. Gotta have proper lighting, and maybe a good camera too.
And we do have to compliment you on your backdrop that the blue lighting effect is beautiful.
Yeah, you can tell I do a lot of video.
So Gary, same question to you. Are you looking at, and maybe in your case, you might have use cases where you really do need higher quality cameras for teaching or telehealth, telemedicine?
Well, we don't, as far as IT is concerned, I believe everybody has a laptop, and they just generally use the integrated camera inside of the laptop. So there's really nothing there. I have I'm privy to many cameras, as I'm sure everybody here is, as companies kind of send you little samples of things to try to hopefully spread out across the company. And as many people would walk into my office and ask me, why do you have so many cameras? I would basically say it's because I'm a narcissist, but, whatever. but one of the things that I should mention is that as far as coming back to the office, one of the things that one of our coders has developed is a way of checking in with your temperature. And everyone is, whether you're going in or not, is required to basically take their temperature every day. You go to this web portal, you put in there the temperature, if you're going on site, it asks you for your temperature. If you're going to work remote, you still have to go there, but if you say remote, you don't necessarily have to put in your temperature. But it does also ask you the question, have you traveled outside of Connecticut in the past since you've last logged in? And, Connecticut, like New York, we had a tough time in the beginning, and we've done a pretty good job of getting those numbers way down. And the governor really wants to keep it that way. And I even got a notice this morning that as of this Friday coming up, there's a whole new executive order going into play about people traveling into Connecticut, mandatory quarantines and things like that. They want to keep these numbers low. And obviously working in a hospital, you have to do that. There's also in our executive offices we have where you walk in, you step up to the line and there's a video machine and you walk in and you see there's an infrared thing and it tells you what your temperature is right then and there. And it basically is you could pass or no, turn around and leave. It's like, it's so they're taking this stuff really seriously, for obvious reasons. I'm sure they are everywhere, but especially within a healthcare organization, you kind of have to.
Yeah,
also, Erwin, ask users to clean their lens. Just clean the lens.
How about open up the slider?
Right? Yeah.
Right, take the Post-it note or the piece of tape off the camera and so on. No, it's a good point. I've seen that many times. So I want to ask one more question about the future before we wrap up. So we talked about cloud earlier, and I know some of you are using cloud today or a mix of cloud. I've heard it said that the pandemic accelerated people's cloud plans by 5 years or more. What impact has the pandemic had on your cloud plans, if any? So Gary, I'll come back to you to start.
Okay, so I could speak only as far as video is concerned. And we haven't had a problem, knock wood, with our on-prem Pexip deployment. So it's not as if it's pushing us to the cloud. One of the things that I am interested in is the whole concept of cloud bursting. Should we fill up? But right now we just have beefed up capacity so much so that has not become an issue. So for us, I would say, as far as video is concerned, it hasn't impacted us in that way.
Okay, great. How about you, Richie?
Again, I'm out Pexip in the cloud as a service. So basically, as long as Pexip keeps the lights on and, provides the cloud as a service, we should be fine. Skype for Business is out in the cloud. I'm sorry, Teams is out in the cloud, our Cloud Office 365. So we're there. Mm-hmm. It works.
Excellent. And Amante, again, thinking with respect to Fairfax County, obviously government tends to be sometimes often a little bit of a laggard to move into cloud. Are you seeing an acceleration in interest in cloud, or were they already heading in that direction?
They've headed to that direction already because of COVID. But from the start, when we started this, it's all on-prem. It's all on-prem deployments. So we have all of the video bridges and PCS Expressway and all these core systems on-prem. But I'm a big fan of the cloud because some of these agencies, they don't have the budget to fund a dedicated team to support on-prem, standalone systems. So I'm glad that they're going more and more to the cloud. We have Pexip, by the way, and they have different flavors. They're using Zoom, they have WebEx, So we have a lot of fallback. So let's say our on-prem video bridge is not working. Oh, okay, we have Pexip. We could use Pexip VMR. We're also a heavy user of Pexip's CVI, which is the SIP connector into Microsoft Teams. And I'm seeing more and more use of that. Most of the users are so used to Microsoft Teams, but then you'll get a special request wherein, hey, I'll be in this conference room, which has a Cisco device. How can I join a Teams meeting? So that's how we use the Pexip CVI service. So that we have interoperability between Cisco, Cisco into MS Teams, Cisco dialing into Zoom, as long as Zoom has a SIP connector, Cisco dialing into a WebEx meeting. So there's so many different options now. So we kind of over-engineered, all these available video conferencing solutions now for clients. So that when one system doesn't work, okay, we have another option. Okay, let's switch this meeting over to Pexip. Oh, Pexip is having issues. All right, let's switch over to WebEx. But not everybody has the budget to afford all of these. So it's really different per customer case.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we've got about 4 minutes left on my clock, so I'm going to ask each of you for your final thoughts and recommendations. If you were sitting in the audience attending this webinar and this session today, what advice would you give people as far as what they should be thinking about as they begin to plan for the next 6 months, and hopefully at some point emerging from the pandemic to some sort of a different kind of normal? So Amante, let me go ahead and start with you.
Oh boy. Okay. I have so many things to say, but 6 months from now, let's say we have a vaccine and everybody starts going back to work, we're going to have heavy video meeting users still. I think people will be so used to video meetings. So you got to make sure that your network infrastructure is upgraded, is able to take on all this traffic, be able to prioritize video traffic and audio traffic from the normal, web traffic or less real-time traffic. Prepare your internet links, because if you have a hybrid cloud and on-prem video solution, there'll be a lot of traffic traversing your internet links. So make sure you have redundant internet links and higher capacity internet links. And make sure that your perimeter firewalls are able to handle the load.
Excellent.
I don't know. It's really also make sure that you have proper training materials online. Create videos on how to operate a certain video collaboration app, because that really helps. Once you have a test session with a certain group of users, they come prepared, and all you need to do is just validate. Okay, have you tried this, and have you tested this from the guideline? So training is really important.
Excellent. Okay, Richie, how about you? Final words of advice.
So advice of what I went through, the challenges, here at Cody, is keep it simple. Don't let the end user walk into the room and say, oh, geez, how am I going to figure how to connect this call, right? Who's going to send the invite? It should be so simple, one button touch in a room, simple footer on the invite, which Pexip provides with the interop with Teams and Skype. I know a lot of folks that probably have Skype now, an on-prem solution, maybe move, have to, or force kind of to move to Teams by, I think, June of next year. A cloud solution, in my opinion, is the way to go. It takes a lot of worries for the on-prem solution. It's out in the cloud, and it works. So, my advice is just keep it simple for the end user. They'll love it. If you mimic it, if you try to, get other things to work a certain way, it's not going to flow right, and you won't be successful. And they'll hate it. They won't use the room.
Excellent. Okay. And then, Gary, I'm going to give you the last word.
All right. Well, so I was recently asked, well, you know what? Let me take it out. It's not about me. I'll address it another way. To give people advice, you must know where they are, right? And where they are, where do they want to go, right? So in essence, what is their UC strategy? Because video should be part of a unified communication strategy. The first question, before even what is your strategy, is do you have a strategy? Because there are many people that just purchase things because they're, oh, this is good, let's do this. Oh, this is good, let's do this. But how does that fit inside of a strategy, right? Why do that? So standardization for us has been really key, and we standardize on Pexip. But since COVID-19, everyone that's ever been, or I'm exaggerating, but who's ever been inside of a, say, virtual happy hour, now considers themselves a video expert because they've been on a video conference, right? And so they all know, oh, this is a better product because I get this for free, or this one, I've done this before, this is how it works, and I should go that, and this is much better, right? So I get a call the other day, a woman, going, yeah, we'll say she's freaking out. She can't join this meeting, and I remote into her, her video conferencing system, and I go, you haven't even made a call yet. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to reach? She says, well, I'm trying to get to GoToWebinar. I said, so you're trying to get to GoToWebinar from the Cisco endpoint? Yeah. Well, you can't. What do you mean I can't? They just got us these accounts. Who's they? They just trained us on how to use it. Who's they? So there are people that have gone rogue as of recent, but our IT, it's like, this is our supported platform. So if people ask me Pexip versus XYZ, whatever, I go, look, I can't prevent you from using what you want to use. Use it. All I can say is it's not supported by IT. So if you have an issue, I cannot help you. And the last thing I'll say, and I like actually when we have somewhat of a disagreement. So Richie, I'm going to disagree with you just a little, respectfully, I should say, is the reason why I like an on-prem solution is because if there's an issue in the video quality, I could say, okay, at point A, point B, let's follow, right, the data across. Where is there a problem? Let's find the problem and then elect whether or not we want to fix it. If it's a one-time issue that we may say it's not worth fixing, right? Like small pothole. But if it's big, then we want maybe perhaps fix it. When working with another client recently, another customer, another video conferencing system, they showed me the return trip of a call and said that there was an issue with this return trip to the cloud and back. And I said, okay, where's the problem? And they said, well, we can't tell you that. We don't know that. It's like, so then what good does that do me, knowing the packet loss and jitter, if there's nothing I can do about it, right? We're all at the mercy of the public internet, so blame Al Gore for, if we have a problem. I've often said that my job will become a lot easier if we move off-prem, because people will call and complain about video quality, and I'll say, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yes.
It's out of my hands, right?
Right.
So.
Excellent. Well, again, I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. And Amante and me, I think, are happy that the thunderstorms didn't knock out our electricity here in Virginia. I appreciate, again, everybody joining us and sharing your insights with the audience, and wish all of you the best of luck as you navigate what has been an unbelievably unusual time, I think, for all of us.